Let's do it.
It rained today here in Texas, so we
I'm
get
jealous.
a little moody tune. But then the sun came out, and then a podcast turned on, and we had four boys in a podcast. Welcome back, guys.
What's
Four
up?
boys and four windows.
Four boys.
Four boys on a podcast.
That's the new name of this podcast. Four boys in a podcast. Who's on the show today? You guys want to
Who we got?
go around?
Hey, what's up?
introduce
I'm Wren.
yourselves?
I'm here today.
Wren,
Hey,
what
I'm Nico.
People don't know who Wren is, so let's get an introduction there.
what are
I'm
you guys?
Matt.
What are you guys known for?
What are we known for?
Yeah.
ASMR experiences.
Yeah.
I'm known for being an all-around decent fella.
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here, guys.
We got ASMR guy, good guy, and happy to be here guy, and you.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good one today,
All right,
folks.
perfect. Wow. So, you guys have been working on something special for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, what you want to go into some details on this? I mean, what is this? We're releasing something next weekend, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot to talk about with this because it's not just the piece itself. There's also another thing that's sort of bigger, that's beyond just this single episode.
I
So-
think I know what you're talking about, but you're being so vague that I'm a little worried I'm not tracking you.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking about what you guys have been working on all day and all week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It starts with a T and ends with an Tacticool. Reloads.
Tacticool 3 loads, everybody. Tacticool 3 loads is now coming to Corridor Digital. That's right. We recorded it way back in the before times.
Yeah.
Pre-quarantine, pre-COVID, all that stuff. We recorded it in March. And then, man, we went through trial and tribulation with the stay-at-home thing. Then we had to figure out, we had some pickup days that we had to film with Freddie. Then we had, extra shots that we wanted to get in there to sort of smooth out action beats and action moments. And then for the last 2 weeks or so, you guys have just been cranking on effects.
Cranking on effects.
Colors. Kevin Senzaki's been doing the sound design.
It's looking really good. It's definitely like one of the nicest productions we've done in a long time at Corridor.
Yeah, I saw the rough cut, and the jokes seem to be working and everything. So that's always a
Yeah.
good sign when you get a rough cut together and it's actually working like that.
Keanu Reeves is the best.
Yeah. No, but seriously, the jokes are working, and like there's like character.
Yeah.
And like other cool things like dialogue that seems to actually work, and cinematography that actually looks nice. Like all the things like, well, here's the thing. Like when you guys are watching like a movie or a TV show or something like that, at a certain point, even if it's not necessarily a good one, at a certain point you just kind of slip into it, right? You just accept the reality. You're not looking at actors, you're looking at characters, and now you're just watching a show, right?
Yeah.
But there's that line you have to get over, that hurdle as a filmmaker, where before that, you have to get past the point where people aren't seeing the actors, and they're not seeing the camera work, or they're not seeing the set and the location. Like, getting across that line can be a little challenging. And
Yeah,
this piece, with all its cheese and its campiness, like, it's easy to end up pulling people out, but it pulls you in. Like, even myself, like, I don't see me acting, I see my character when I'm watching it.
That's called gravitas, Nico.
Gravitas.
Yeah, it's when you get that sobriety, that realism of the character, regardless of what they're playing, where you look at them and you're like, that's actually happening. That's not an actor.
Right. Sam's the one with the most gravitas, if I must say, out of the group.
Yeah, I don't know if graceful is a word, but that we can apply to Sam, but he's got this certain je ne sais quoi when he gets into a role.
He definitely has some very funny moments in there too. He has some of the best reactions in the piece.
Dude, his like angry neck twitch.
Yeah,
like,
that angry neck twitch is just great.
Yeah.
So
you're not so
Saying
bad yourself,
so much
Jake.
with that neck.
Jake, when it comes to acting, you're not so you're not so bad yourself.
yeah, sometimes I can nail it. Sometimes I've looked back, when you like you make so many videos, you look back at certain ones, and sometimes you watch them and you're thinking, oh my god, why was I doing that? But if no one else notices, then I guess it doesn't matter. But I guess that's a good sign. It shows that you're like improving, because there's old videos where I can clearly see like, why am I'm overacting so hard in this? Why am I doing this? But yeah, yeah. So this is the third iteration. Not only do we have Nico and Freddie, we also got Matt Best in it. And we shot it in the BRCC warehouse, which they had like this giant monitor setup that was we didn't expect to use it, but for one of the scenes, they have, it's like, I think it was like 5 monitors across and 4 down.
Yeah.
So there's this giant bad guy wall of monitors that when we got there on the day, we were in the warehouse and we were filming around it, and we said, oh hey, we'll just use that as the backdrop for the bad guys, because that works. and then we didn't expect it to work, because usually stuff like that doesn't work. and then somebody casually asked, hey, does that thing turn on? And then they went and got somebody, and this guy came in and he switches it on all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden we went from having, it wasn't bad, but it was like generic bad guy, and then all of a sudden it was super bad guy with this whole...
Yeah, the production quality just took a big leap.
Yeah, so that was nice. That was unexpected. And then, we pulled a few maneuvers, I think, to like hide some of the jankiness from some of the other scenes, like with the whole, like, I was really concerned about the gun range in the hallway thing. But I saw the footage, and most people won't notice it.
It definitely, like, once again, it's like, it doesn't distract you per se. It doesn't look expensive. Like, it looks cheap.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make you go like, oh, I'm just watching some dudes try to make a video.
Baby's first video. Yeah.
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 I think really Wren really wants us to acknowledge what's happening right now. But I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to let you win.
Where did that background come from, Wren?
This background?
Yeah. Did you make that?
Why is it backwards? No. This is from a show, and I forget the name of it, but it's an amazing show.
It's a cartoon, right?
Is it called Isn't Everything Amazing?
I forget. I don't remember where the name of the show, but there's this other one from like the same maker who's like, it's a very futurologist type short film, and with that sort of art style. Anyway.
Wait, is it the people that made BoJack Horseman, or is that a different thing?
No.
For those of you who are listening, only Wren has some weird background with just some character, like line drawn characters. But anyway, the Tacticool Reload series, I think at first, we didn't know if it was a series or not, and then the first one took off, and we said, oh hey, maybe we should make another one of these. And then Nico, I'll say you went out on a limb with the story plot lines on the second one. I was very concerned that that's not what people wanted to see, but sure enough, that one did great. And then we went full on into the third one, extended the storylines a little bit, and now on the website we are announcing Tacticool the show.
Yeah. That's right, more episodes. If it gets greenlit, it's up to the users to decide if they want to greenlight that or not.
Of course, yeah, but just to pull that up here, let's pull that up. So
greenlight it, guys.
If you go to quarterdigital.com/greenlight, which is anyone can see this page. So far, 5,000 points have been put into Tacticool. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's probably not going to happen this year. If it does, great. That'd be great. But I'm excited for that. And so the mission now on tomorrow, I guess, is you guys have to go show this to Freddie, right?
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing, okay? Because throughout all these episodes, Freddie has been basically the best friend ever, in the sense that he's just kind of shown up and shot them with us and participated with us and like gone along on this like, hey, Freddie, can you do 3 days of filming for us for this video? That and he's every time he's shown up. So now we have to show him the best, hopefully the best one yet, and then get him excited for Tacticool the show.
There's a couple things like at play here, by the way. So like, you know, the first one is kind of a viral video concept, but it has some story and some characters. The second one, yeah, you're right. I put in a lot more story. It's like half story, half action, whereas the other one was like 80%, 90% action and like 10 or 20% story.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if the third one comes out and the third one does well, we effectively have 3 episodes of a series with, you know, and the first 2 each have like 15 or something like that million each. Like 3 episodes in a row with story and characters and all of them having maybe over 10 million if you know the third one pops, like you're looking at potential actual television series right there, because you know those numbers are television numbers. Yeah. And if you've done it once, cool. If you've done it twice, maybe you got something. If you've done it 3 times, well, you're definitely like something's working, right? Each one's not an accident anymore. Yeah. You didn't just happen to go viral.
So now we got to go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna say is, you know, it's a cool potential to have. And you know, in the olden days, we would take that and we'd go and we'd try to pitch it, right? Like, all right, here's our pilot, here's our scripts, here's some future episodes we can do. But now we don't have to do that. Now we can be like, look, audience, if you want to see more of these, we can make the show for real. And the green light system, like the amount of points we put up that's approaching, you know, it's not a huge budget, but it's enough of a budget to make this happen. Yeah. And yeah, it's interesting. And that, you know, that's kind of the other challenge here is that when you want to make more of these things, it can't all just be action. At some point, you have to start telling a story. And so, you know, there is that challenge of like, well, can one write a story that's compelling in this world? How do you do that? And honestly, like the more pieces I've made, the more I've realized like I have a ton to learn when it comes to writing. You know, I can write basic functional stories, but anything that has like nuance or like a twist on like how it's made or something like that, like I can't defy conventions or anything yet. Like I'm basic baby script writer at this point. But the thing I realized with Tacticool and almost with like all the stories I do right now is like, it's okay to work in convention as long as like the dressing that you're putting on it is special. You know, it's okay to tell a conventional story when you have like people that are literally juggling guns as like a part of this world that, you know, and that's where the story comes from. Right. And like all the jank that surrounds it, that all kind of melts away the more direct you get with your story beats. Like when you don't sit there and like if you try to milk the acting for a shot or like hold a long reaction, like you'll start to lose people. But if you're just like, and facts, and you're just hitting people with facts about the world and the characters and the situation, and suddenly like, you know, they just have to start building this internal narrative. Yeah. Like all that jank kind of melts away pretty quickly as long as you're hitting that story directly, clearly, and, you know, not trying to, you know, punch outside your weight class too hard.
Right. No, totally. Yeah. That's a common mistake that I think everyone makes when they're writing anything narrative, however long it is. There's always a tendency when you're starting out to just, oh, well, this is funny, so I want to keep it in, or even though it's not in any way related to the actual where the rubber meets the road for the characters, where they actually go forward in their story. And so, writing that out is, you know, anytime I see that when I'm watching anything narrative, it's an immediate, you know, you can immediately get out of it when you're.
Yeah, it's easy to fall in love with your characters and want to be like, oh, what if I just like had this character do this funny one-liner, or, you know, and like at some point you can do that, but not in the first 2 minutes of your YouTube video. Like, think of how long you have to watch a movie before the movie gets to have its characters like have a fuck around scene or just do whatever. Yeah. You know, they don't do that in the first 30 seconds. They do that like 30 minutes in. Yeah. You know, so to me, that's the 4th Tacticool episode if you look at it that way. Yeah.
Well, because then you're just doing shticks. Then you're just writing shticks, you know? That's just not.
Exactly.
Maybe we should do a video of that. Just to defy everything I just said, just a video of shticks where you're not quite clear what's happening. I guess that's the second iteration of "There's no time to explain," Wren. I mean,
Oh yeah.
we need to. I was thinking about we should bring that back, man.
That would be good. That would
Yeah.
be a
The
good.
thickening.
We should. It should be called like "There's still no time to explain."
There's still
Yeah,
no
yeah. There's still no time to explain.
So, Wren, Matt, you guys were heavy in the effects on this one.
Yeah.
What was the hardest / most challenging thing so far that you saw?
Wren, I feel like you and Clint had some of the more challenging shots for sure.
Well, okay. There's different kinds of challenging here, right?
Exactly, yes.
Your challenge is the fact that you have so many green screen shots and and trying to maintain
Yes.
a very certain level of quality and consistency amongst the dozens of shots that you worked on for green screening. For me, it's a lot of just challenging tracks where there's a shot where Nico's like flipping over Matt, or this other Matt. There's dude in the video, Nico's flipping over him, and I tracked in this little couch hit on the back of this bullet goes whizzing by and then hits his jacket.
Yeah.
But it's a
Yeah,
very
it looks really good.
There's not really much
looks
to
awesome.
track there. It's like the gun goes over the entire shot at some point. So all my hand motions are wigging out right now. I'm gonna turn off my video real quick.
Well, stop flying around New York City, dude.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff like that, but Clint and I are currently kind of going back and forth because I've been adding these distorted matrix bullet trails, and I like them a lot, and I want to
They
amp
look
it up.
awesome, dude.
And every single note from Clint so far has been dial it back a lot, and I'm like, oh, but I want more distortion. I want all of the distortion. He's like, nah. So
But guess what, Wren? Those shots are approved. You don't have to touch them.
wait, what?
Yeah. At least the bullets flying by Matt's vest. I thought those shots were great.
Sweet.
And you know what? Maybe they could be dialed around a little bit, but also we need to be done with the effects in a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a large list of shots that I still have to fix here. So I've got a lot of work left to do, even through all tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm cranking on.
And I don't mind, I know it's not super consistent, but I also don't really mind the over the top nature of of some of those effects.
Well, so
So-
what I was going for, I was just referencing the very first Tactical Reloads, where I remember I did the bullet trails for that with the really distorted matrix lines, and I remember those being really over the top, and so I was like, I'm gonna make them over the top like that because there's precedent for it within the series, and so that's what I started doing. And then Clint was like, dial it back. I was like, bah. So I went back and I looked at it and I was like, actually, they are a lot more subdued than I remember them being in that first video.
Well, there's
So I was like,
there's
dang
that one shot where the two bullets shoot the handcuffs off of the girl.
that was what I was thinking of.
Okay.
But the distortion there is a little bit different, a little
Yeah.
not quite as good. There are better effects to use now, like Red Giant's chroma displacement
Okay.
is it's a really good displacement distortion type effect.
Now, Nico, do you have any concerns at all that some of the character elements from between you and Freddie might carry into the real world? If we go and see him tomorrow and he's not impressed by Tactical 3 loads, and then he leaves the partnership, and then you have to go out and you have to bring him back in and say, come on, Freddie, we got to do this show, man.
I mean, that's always a risk, but you know what? My friendship is built on confidence and trust,
There you
and
go.
I'm confident that Freddie will love it, and we've maintained an atmosphere of fun, endeavoring,
Yeah.
energetic, artistically honest filmmaking when we make this. So, now granted, the man's busy. I can't take so much of his time unless we start incorporating him into the productions. Like you said, he's
Yeah.
been the greatest friend ever when it comes to participating with this stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's time for us to if we're gonna keep making Tactical Reloads, it's time to make this a little bit more official between us.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Hopefully we'll get a
Yeah.
chance to do that.
Well, yeah, honestly, I think it's turning out really solid, and once again, it kind of comes down to what happens with the website and with everybody that's on it. If people feel like Tactical Reloads is worth their producer points, Freddie's ready to come on board and join us and help us write some of this. We'll have a bunch of time to rehearse and plan cool stunts and all those Stuntmen React episodes we've been filming. Those are all people we know now that we have connections with. Like, we could be doing some crazy stuff as long as we have an excuse to go out there and make it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can't entirely rely on people for favors. Like, you could ask people for favors when you're like a kid in college or you're making your first film.
Yeah.
But once you're like 800 films deep, it's like your 900th video on YouTube. You're like, hey, I was wondering if I could ask you for a favor. They're like,
Haven't you made a career out of this for the last 10 years?
Yeah.
A career
you made
out
a
of
favor for money?
A career out of asking favors of people. Yeah.
yeah.
It's an art form.
Yeah. It's in and of itself. Well, to talk about a few other things that have happened on the site. So functional filmmaking was greenlit. Was it this
It's
week?
like, oh yeah, now we got to do that.
We gotta execute this thing.
Yes. So that was greenlit.
We should talk about our lessons. Like, what are we going to teach people? Give a little preview in this podcast, you know?
Yes, I want to do that. I just want to point out a couple things before we do. So, Wren, I don't know if you've looked. Functional filmmaking has been greenlit. Son of a Dungeon is 430 points away.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
crazy.
So we've got some work to do, boys, to make this happen. And I do want to talk about functional filmmaking ideas. One thing I'm concerned about is that it's one of those ones where you're like, oh yeah, functional filmmaking. We will teach some abridged courses on our method of thinking when approaching filmmaking. I think this is going to be a little bit harder than we think, because what we have to do is we have to boil down the philosophical essence of how you approach a filmmaking problem, and then attach it to an actual example that we can use as this sort of through line for each class. Mm-hmm. So we have a few. We've got Nico and Wren here, and you guys have already kind of identified two classes. So, I mean, do you guys want to tell the audience a bit about just what those are and at least what maybe the initial approach is?
Yeah. Wren, you want to kick things off?
Sure. All right. I have no idea what we're gonna do.
Oh, come on. That's not true.
That's not
Surprise,
true.
everybody. We have nothing written.
It's a half truth.
It's a half
Wren's like,
truth.
I've already made all my knowledge videos. I have no more knowledge.
I am done.
No more knowledge to give.
So the general idea is I'm gonna kind of do whatever the functional filmmaking episode is around how I make these science videos that I make.
Yeah.
And I don't exactly know what that should be yet. I haven't really put in a lot of effort into thinking about exactly the structure or specific examples and breakdowns to include within that. I am currently, not right now, but I have been working a little bit on a new science video, hopefully coming out at some point, that maybe will be a good excuse to kind of do a follow along with. So it's I'll have all the previous videos that I've made that I can do examples from and breakdowns for giving context behind certain decisions that I chose to highlight within the video, and decisions, because usually the hardest thing is figuring out what not to include in a video, because I want to include everything, and it's always well, if you did that, it'd be an hour long and it would take 4.5 years to make. So it's always trying to figure out, okay, how can you best streamline this process? So the video I'm working on next, hopefully, I mean, I've got so many different video ideas, and they're not necessarily the science videos, but how many solar panels could power the world? Now, on the surface, that seems like a fairly direct question. It's okay, how much energy does humanity consume? How many panels can output that much energy? Done. And it's the more I dove into that, the more complicated it got. There's different kinds of energy. Electricity is only a fifth of the energy that Earth consumes, or humanity, society consumes. But it's the most efficient form of energy. Most energy is in the form of heat, so heat, and transportation, so gasoline and stuff like that, diesel, etc. So it's been really hard to kind of figure out how to narrow down all of these ideas and concepts through research and doing math and whatnot into something that makes for a good video visually.
Isn't the most immediate one the electricity? Because
The most immediate what?
the most immediate example to create the visuals from, like, because you think about it, when you think about a solar panel, you don't think about a solar panel making your car go necessarily, even though that is a thing that solar panels now do. You think about a solar panel like, oh well, it goes to the electricity and that goes to buildings and homes and things like that.
Yeah.
So is there a way that you can focus it onto just like buildings or something that's more?
I'm getting close, but the short answer is that like if I was to do just like the electricity section, that's a cop out. Like what would it take so that Earth was 100% based off of renewable energy? But that would require some pretty heavy changes in society beyond just like getting rid of coal stations and putting up solar panels instead. Like.
Right.
It's the whole point of Tesla, trying to accelerate sustainable transport, but the more electric cars are on the road, the more electricity demand there is. And so like all projections for how much energy we'll be using in the future is going up as far as electricity is concerned. I did figure out exactly how many solar panels would be needed to power my car to go. So I have a Tesla Model 3 and I get around 250 watt hours per mile. So about 4 miles for every kilowatt hour of energy. And
Wait, hold on. How many do you want to reveal? How many?
Oh, it's a lot,
solar panels?
because everyone thinks like, oh, if you just put solar panels on your car, it can just go forever, right? And the answer is that like for my car to have enough solar panels attached to it to be able to sustain the engine running at 60 miles an hour just down the road, it would be like 5 semi-truck trailers completely covered in solar panels just towing behind my car, which of course also adds in extra weight and wind resistance, which increases the energy needed.
So now you need another 5 trucks just to power the power.
Yeah, it's a compounding effect. And so
and
so it's like the idea there is that it takes a lot of energy to make a car move or to even charge it at a decent rate. If you're to cover like the entirety of my car in solar panels, like after a full day of charging, I'd get maybe like 4 miles of range added.
Wow.
So it's like, it's great if it's the post-apocalypse and you've gotten like an entire summer to go across the state of Nevada, because that's how long it's going to take you. But so that's, everyone's always thinking, oh, you can just put solar panels on a car and it'll go. And that's not true. But the other side of that, the flip side, is that everyone thinks that you have to cover like the entire world in solar panels to have enough energy to power the whole planet. And that's also wrong. You don't need that many. To power America, you just need like a 100 by 100 mile square. And for the whole world, it comes out to around the square footage of Spain. So if you had like a block of solar panels the size of Spain, it is.
Yeah, but, it's
but
a ton
most
of
of
land,
that. But if you're to total up all of the land covered in buildings that have roofs, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's way more than that. Way more than that.
And so it's the whole purpose of all my like science videos is trying to recognize something that is easily understood, it's recognizing something that is easy to understand but is not well understood. And that's kind of like the thread that goes through every single one of my videos, whether it's like how big are Star Wars ships and the easiest way to demonstrate something like that is to show an image. It's a very efficient form of communication, 1,000 words for every image, right?
So I have 2 questions about that. First question is, do you find yourself using like the proper application of mathematics and engineering principles, like when you're solving these riddles, these scripts, or?
Sure. I am rarely using advanced math. Usually my math is like just algebra. Okay. Like most of engineering, like you have to take like high level math classes. Like you have to take like freaking differential equations, linear algebra, vector calculus. And then most of engineering is basically just advanced algebra.
Okay. Now, what sort of, so if just to take your example, not that you haven't, I know you haven't boiled down all the math on this yet, but you talk about that 100 by 100 mile block of solar panels for America, right? So what would we need to do to get that, to actually have it be practical? Like what would it be like beyond
It would
comprehension
require,
or
no. It's these are all doable problems, but they're all extremely challenging because the infrastructure isn't in place. You know, it's like it's one thing to have like a giant solar farm that's creating all this electricity, but then you got to transport that long distances, which requires transformers to get it up to really high voltages to go long distances, or like a smart grid that's able to like pull from a bunch of different solar panels all at once to, you know, because right now there's every evening everyone uses a lot more electricity than they do throughout the rest of the day. So it's really hard to accommodate for that. So there are what are called peaker plants, which are basically gas-powered, natural gas-powered plants that they fire up in the afternoon just to supply any extra energy that's needed on a moment's notice. But if you have a smart grid in place, you don't need any of those power plants because it's all just like everyone's talking to each other. It also goes hand in hand with like battery storage systems because it's like it's great if you could generate that energy, but if it doesn't go anywhere, it's just wasted.
Yeah.
And like the more I've like researched into this, like the bigger and bigger the concept gets, and the harder it is to wrangle what it is I want to say.
Yeah.
Down to something into like a 4-minute video.
Totally. How much money are these guys making? If you're talking about like an energy industry where they have plants that are literally just there, and there's a group of people whose job it is to just fire that thing up every day and make sure that it's running so that all the idiots like me can just come home and like turn on the lights and be like, oh yeah, the lights. I don't even think about them. I just turn them on. They just work. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like they must be. That's a critical industry. Obviously, the people that run these energy companies. I mean, they've got to be for profit, right? Because otherwise, why would you do it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's usually, PG&E, I think, is a private company, you know, like they have to be running at some sort of profit level, even if all of their stations are starting to break down and cause wildfires.
Right. Right. But I'm just saying, like, from the mentality of like, okay, who's going to build a solar field that big? Like, you know, there's a couple of different ways you could do that. Like, you obviously.
It's like, there's grid scale energy markets. Like there is a marketplace for like a ton of energy, and there's always demand for it that's a very, very consistent thing is demand for electricity.
Right.
And so it does fluctuate, and that's where the challenge lies is because like all of a sudden if the demand like fluctuates up, you have to like figure out how to meet that demand, and things like the temperature outside can affect the efficiency of power plants. And that's why you start seeing a lot of rolling blackouts in places like Southern California when it gets really hot out, because it changes the quality of air and the humidity of the air. And so that when you're trying to actually burn something, you're getting a lot less efficiency out of those turbines. And so you end up with a lot less power output than these peaker plants, which are supposed to provide all this power, and they can't. So then they're having to shut down certain neighborhoods of the city. It's like, all right, for an hour, you don't get power. Sorry, but that's just because that's all we can do.
Right. No, totally. It's a super vexing and evolving problem. It's not like it's ever. The thing is, you can't effectively like just come up with a solution and then sort of just like put it in a box, because not only is demand changing, but also the nature of energy itself is something that's. If energy is just left alone, like you said, it'll just be wasted. So not only do you have to figure out like how to meet demand, you also have to figure out how to keep and store it so that you can use it later when possible.
Yeah. Like right now, the biggest industry changing technology that's really starting to roll out is the idea of grid scale battery storage. Tesla's been really pushing this. They made this giant, I want to say like 100 or 200 megawatt hour energy storage plant in Australia. And within like a year or two, it already like recovered all of its costs in terms of like the money it was making, selling energy when it was needed. And because it's all electrical and battery, it's like, it's able to flip, and be able to put full output on like literally like a flip of a switch that's not controlled by people. It's just like whenever it's needed, it's suddenly, pouring out energy. But people always think of like batteries as like the batteries you see in like your TV remote or like a lithium ion battery. But like there's all kinds of different forms of energy storage. There's that giant power plant between here and Vegas, with all the mirrors reflecting up to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That thing that shines so bright in the middle is literally a thermal battery. It's a battery in the form of heat because it's a giant pool of molten salt. and it's molten salt because it has good thermal characteristics of keeping that heat.
Yeah.
And they just run water through these pipes that go through it, and it boils the water, which turns into basically a very fancy steam engine.
Wow.
I mean, most power plants are in a way.
Yeah, no, I mean that's basically all they are. They're just fancy, coal plants.
But I thought we were more evolved than that. You're telling me we're just
still powered by steam?
Yeah, it's all just
Yeah.
steampunk at the end of the day.
Steam is good at doing work.
Hey, do you know which is the most efficient form of reusable energy? Like, which one harnesses the most power?
Probably ocean tide, I would
I
imagine.
think that depends
maybe.
on where it is.
I guess
Well,
it depends.
Geothermal.
Ren,
There's lots
answer
of
all
things,
of our
right?
questions,
It's
Ren.
like if you set up enough tide harnessing energy things, you'll stop all the tides from moving. We did that. We did that equation in college, and everyone got it wrong, and our professor got pissed. He was like, "You are gonna go do it again and do it right this time." We're like, "Oh, okay." Anyway,
Wow.
so in
Good,
geothermal,
good.
like the easiest way and the most sustainable way is just from the sun because it's always putting out energy. It never fluctuates, weather permitting, obviously. Wind,
Oh, that's
sometimes
fair.
it's not
Yeah.
windy. Geothermal is usually pretty consistent, but like the process of getting that heat is a challenging one and a hard one. Nuclear is actually pretty solid, but everyone is afraid of nuclear. And for the amount of like space you have to put around like the no man's zone around a nuclear power plant,
Yeah.
if you were to just fill all of that with solar panels instead, you would end up with a fairly similar power output from solar than you would from nuclear.
Assuming, of course, you're in a climate that supports solar.
Yeah, but like Germany, for instance, has a ton of solar in there. It's Europe. Like they have
Yeah,
tons
there's
of clouds year round. England, same way. They have tons of solar there, and it's working well.
They have a bunch of them in Minnesota.
Yeah,
They're-
I'm dubious about that. It feels like a good way to not get energy.
No, it is a good way though.
They
It's
wouldn't
still,
be
it's always
doing
a good
it
way.
if it wasn't working though.
Clouds can cut down on energy on solar panels, but like it's not a huge factor. Especially some of the technology coming out right now is starting to try to harness infrared energy a little bit better than it currently does, which means clouds aren't even a factor at all, because infrared just goes straight through clouds.
Oh really?
Oh, interesting.
Man, see,
That's why you can still get sunburned on a cloudy day.
there's a whole
Yeah.
world out there. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
that's that future steam.
That's that future. Dude, I can't wait for future steam. That infrared steam.
Yeah, that
Oh man,
infrared
I'm gonna come
steam,
home and
man.
turn on my lights and go, oh man, you see that future steam? That infrared steam? That's what's powering it.
Yeah.
It looks like
Well,
lasers.
we have now gotten onto this topic talking about, energy and whatnot. And trust me, I'm down to talk about this for a long time. But this all started with you asking me about what my functional filmmaking episode is going to be.
Well, I think that's the whole conversation we just went through is a perfect representation of what we're dealing with functional filmmaking.
You
Because
just go on tangents all day.
well, we have to boil this stuff down. Like we got to steam it up, boys.
Steam it up, baby. Get that
gotta
infrared
steam
steam.
it up and boil it
We
down.
gotta send it through the internets and onto the lights of the computer monitors
Yeah.
and phone screens.
There's certainly like the question of like, I mean, the format is important, but also the structure, right? So like, how are we structuring each episode? Is it like a class where like one person teaches a couple of episodes and that's a class, and then there's multiple people teaching different classes?
Yes.
Or how is
Who's
it going to
making
work?
these? Who's editing them?
So a lot of questions. Let me answer them. First thing, yeah. So we're gonna do classes, which is on the actual quarterdigital.com/greenlight page. You can see there's 4 classes that we've sort of proposed at the moment. We want to do probably 6 to 8. Now each one of those classes is gonna have numerous episodes within it. Like effectively it'll be somewhere between like hopefully 30 and 45 minutes of information, but each one will be it'll be bite sized, so maybe 5 minutes here, maybe 15 minutes here on this part of it, each one of which is like lessons in building blocks that sort of take you through. Now the challenge is like Wren was kind of going into, we need to identify the philosophy behind the approach, which for Wren is making concepts that are not easily understood, easy to understand, when you could present concise facts, and then taking an example, showing why, just like we talked about, to get the facts concise can be often the challenge in and of itself. And so we need to come up with a lesson plan that illustrates that. And so you may even want to do it by like using the solar panels idea as the through line. And so maybe it's easier to look at it with hindsight once you've gone through the process. But for example, we could do that. We could put that video out, and then you could use that as the example for functional filmmaking to show how you got through each layer of the problem as you went through it.
Right.
So that'd be one. The other one, Nico's one, is how to master any camera. So I imagine that probably has a few less steps maybe than Wren's, but I don't know. Nico, do you have thoughts on that?
That's also how to master any camera is a very broad thing too, because then you basically condense all the knowledge across all photography devices and boil it down to these essential fundamental pieces of knowledge that can apply to any system.
Yeah, everything from a GoPro to a Red camera.
You do want to show how that actually works across cameras, though.
Yes.
So even once you identify the core tenets of, like, say it's light, camera tech, and color science or whatever, like, you want to show specifically, like, okay, here's the same step, here's the same 3 or 4 step process. Let's do it to this camera. Okay, what kind of image do we get? And then maybe compare those together. So that one's a little bit easier at the onset, but like, Clint's gonna encounter the same problem with his how to make any image photorealistic idea, because that's something that he's very passionate about, but I don't know how to. His whole thing is, okay, you've got objects in the real world. How do you capture the texture and the aesthetic of that, and then apply it in any 3D program? What are the fundamentals?
I think he's going to have an easy time.
You think so?
To be completely honest, I think he's gonna be totally fine doing that entire episode, because he's been practicing every single weekend. Doing his like 3-hour live stream where
I
he
have
makes
seen
stuff.
that, yeah.
And it's like, he's just been practicing not just doing the effects themselves, but communicating why and how.
Okay.
And the why is important, and so like it'll take some effort from him to boil all it down to like a video that kind of can be for anyone rather than just effects artists. But I'm fairly confident he'll be able to pull it off and do it well.
So then the next question comes down to, okay, who edits it, right? Like who puts the whole show together? Now this isn't something that we've finalized, okay? So don't go over and start commenting. This is more to the listeners. Start commenting that, hey, we're so excited about this. This is something we've had a preliminary conversation. We're both interested in pursuing both functional filmmaking and Son of a Dungeon. Prospectively looking at Carmichael to
the nicest dude returns.
The nicest dude returning.
Wait, have you talked to him yet?
Yes, I've talked to him.
Okay,
Yeah.
phew. Last I heard,
I wouldn't say
you
anything.
hadn't talked to him about it yet, and I was.
That was Monday, yeah. And I talked to him yesterday, and we had a long conversation. He's interested, but we have a ton of details to work out. So I in no way am saying that Carmichael is going to create these shows. All I'm saying is we've had a conversation about it, and we're both interested. And we both think that it would be awesome if we could make both of these happen together. So that's good.
You just threw pressure out into the universe, Jake. You have now laid a jinx.
I know.
Balls
I
in
know.
your court, Carmichael.
I know. Your move, Carmichael. No, so, I mean, but the thing is, and this is what I was explaining to him on the phone, like, no one is better suited to handle both of these shows, I don't think.
That's true. There's not a better person on the planet.
There isn't a better person on the planet to do it. So, for everyone that's subscribed to the site, I mean, maybe once we maybe maybe just say like, hey, maybe in the comments, like, hey, you know who would be great? Carmichael would be great for this. And then, you know, maybe he'll see those and just be like, oh man, you know, I got to do it. No, but seriously, I mean, with his understanding of our workflow, his job for 3 years being literally to understand the philosophy behind our workflow and make videos out of it.
It was a lot longer than 3.
Yeah, well, we did the vlog for like 3, and then he was with us for 2 before. Anyway, yeah, it was a lot longer. But that was literally his job. And then, you know, son of a dungeon, like we had our call, and he was immediately on it with just ideas that he's already had for, because you know he has his own D&D show, and so
yeah,
with us it's just like, hey, here are a bunch of other ideas that I have that would be super fun to do, and here's all the lessons I've already learned from trying to do it myself in X, Y, and Z methods. And so yeah, I think it could be huge, but I do think this is going to take longer for both of these than we would like. But
it depends like what like caliber of quality you want them to be at, because we can do all of them, all of the functional filmmaking episodes, we can kick them out, every single one, in a week.
Well, yeah, but
we can, you know, doesn't mean we should.
Yeah,
doesn't mean we will.
We shouldn't. Like, what, you know, let me know, actually. Let me know if you're subscribed to the site. Whether...
No. I'm kiboshing this right now. I'll let you know.
Look, I just want to see
what
the comments are.
I think these shows right now are an opportunity to, as we continue to make videos and new people continue to discover them, and we say like, hey, check out corridordigital.com. By having a library of quality videos that are unparalleled elsewhere, that's even more reason for people to come over, visit, sign up, and watch.
Well, that would be my assumption as well, and if I was paying for it, that would be my assumption in terms of what I would want. But
yeah,
you know, like that's the thing about the site. It's in a way, it's not really up to us, Nico. It's kind of up to what people are paying for. So
yeah,
there's a give and take there. They got the peepees. You know, what can you do?
Still can't believe we went with that. Wow.
That's producer points.
Producer
points,
Wren.
Guys, producer points.
It's producer points, guys.
I don't know what you want me to say.
It's pretty. What was the alternative? Right?
Yeah. But anyways, so like I think quality over quantity here certainly, but timing is a factor. We do want to get the stuff out as soon as we can. So there's a clear 1-to-1 relationship between things getting greenlit and things getting released. But you know, we might be looking at end of the year for some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's like
maybe. I think we could get. It comes down to functional filmmaking. Like, I think the question with that is, because the nice thing is everybody's writing their own episode. It's not like one of us has to write like 6 episodes of functional filmmaking.
That's true.
Like, I could write my own episode in a week. You know, now I don't know if everybody else can be in the same issue. And I think in a way, like with them potentially being a little bit longer, it also make it easier to be able to, write what you know and not try to like have to boil it down to like the perfect clickbait, hook for YouTube, but like just be like, here's knowledge, here's like, knowledge, raw and unsteamed.
only the finest steams, Nico.
some hot steamed knowledge. Anyways, I think we can turn it out, especially if Carmichael's on board helping edit these things. I think these are gonna be great classes. I can't wait to like see what Wren comes up with. I can't wait to see Nick's approach to like turning anything into a story.
That one, honestly, Nick's one, I think will probably be more valuable than any of our others combined. To be completely honest,
we'll just be giving that to other people as they join Corridor.
Yeah.
Here's your training video made by Nick.
Watch these 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, the Corridor training manual. Maybe that's what we should have called it. Yeah. Actually, no, I like functional filmmaking. It's really clean.
Yeah.
Classy.
Here's another topic. So I don't know if you guys have seen the emails today. Well, some of you don't get these emails because we don't want to bore you guys with these, but we've gotten like 8 submissions today for some video lightsaber effects on
yeah.
TikTok. Stolen
I've been getting
content.
spammed on Twitter and Instagram about it too.
So I looked up this account. Guys, you know, I've ranted about this in the past, and I'll rant about it again in the future, and I'm gonna rant about it right now.
I'm ready for it. We're strapped
What
in.
is with these people? Okay, there's a TikToker account. It's not even an account. It's like a username, and then it just has a number after it. And this account, all day today, we've been getting people hitting us up, being like, "Hey, these guys are stealing your stuff." What these a-holes did, these Jedi a-holes, is they took the world's longest lightsaber, and they put it behind a sponsored video where you can get audio effects for $29.99, and they're using our video to sell that. Now, I went to the account.
Wait, what? The one I saw was selling a lightsaber.
Right. So this is on the same channel. So they took, this is clearly some kind of bot spam sort of like computer account, because there's about 50, 60, 70 videos on this account. But all of them are just the 2 episodes. One is a dude with a lightsaber and he's fighting his buddies in a parking lot, which is also they ripped off from somebody else. And then the other one is the world's longest lightsaber video, and literally every post is just that. And there's about
Just those 2 videos?
Just those 2 videos. Oh, sorry, there's a third one of a guy unboxing a lightsaber.
That was the one I saw.
Yeah. So there's only those 3 videos are being posted on this account, and it looks like it's just started today, from what I can tell.
Wow.
And there's over 70 posts of just these 3 videos multiple times, each one having, you know, different view counts. And like I just don't get it, you know? Like at what point?
What's there not to get?
Oh, here we go. What's there not to get? Like what is TikTok doing? Do these guys care at all? Do they care at all? Like, what protocols are you implementing into your platform to prevent people from doing this? Like, this person's clearly, and not only that, but they're now paying you to have their videos display like in front of other people's videos that are being watched on TikTok. Like, you have no protocols for this. And then they're like questioning, and then they come out, you know, when the government, when the federal government was like, hey, we're going to shut down TikTok, and people were like, oh, hey, wait, hold on, TikTok's got integrity, hold on.
We got integrity here at TikTok.
Wait, hold on a second. And look, you know, and it's just like, this is a prime example. This is a prime example, and I know it's an extreme example, but it's ridiculous, and this is going on all the time, and it's going on to hundreds of creators who are making videos, and they're just straight up being ripped off and used for advertising. I mean, Wren, you've gone through this. We've gone through this. It's just, man.
Now, it happens on Facebook too, though. Is it easier to get it done, taken down on Facebook?
Easy. Okay, so yeah, so just so you know, I've tried to take down things on TikTok, and there's literally no response. Like, literally,
Of course not.
They have
Why would they?
Right.
It's another country that runs that program.
They have a TikTok copyright like report form, and you fill it out. Like, Facebook's actually pretty good about it, despite the fact that Facebook Side Tangent pretends that they can't do anything about it, and then you know, takes it down after the fact, after you manually ask them to take it down, even though for some reason, I don't know, it's weird, YouTube somehow came up with a system for it. I don't know how they did it. They must be geniuses. Everyone at Facebook must not be. That's all I can discern from it.
They got the patents for it, man.
Or they just actually make a ton of money from the ads being spent before the videos get taken down, and so they have no incentive to do otherwise.
Maybe that's it.
And then they just tell the federal government in their congressional hearings that there's nothing that they could do about it, and because the senators don't understand how Facebook works, they just go, okay, sounds like he's being honest.
I mean, yeah, companies like Facebook aren't incentivized to, like, you know, patrol or, you know, police that sort of thing. Is the same thing with YouTube back in the day. The only reason why YouTube changed is because they were in a huge lawsuit with
Verizon.
Verizon.
It wasn't Verizon.
Viacom.
Viacom.
Sorry, not Verizon. Verizon.
And that was like a huge lawsuit, and it changed a lot of the ways that YouTube is fundamentally run. Facebook and TikTok have never had those reckonings, you know? It's like
Totally. And it's a good example of like the necessity of that type of action within the system, but still, like, you would think at this point, you know, it's not like when YouTube had that lawsuit, both YouTube and Facebook came out at pretty much the same time. It was like 2005, 2006. And obviously YouTube had the problem and Viacom went after them, and Facebook didn't have video at that point. They just had pictures and profiles. And but you know, that was 16 years ago, 15 years ago. Like, they've been at it, you know. They have a 30% of all digital advertising being spent on their platform. You would think, like, okay, come on, you know.
They could make a content ID.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
They have a VR company.
right,
They can make a content ID.
and the FTC should step in, and the FCC should actually be regulating these. But that's a whole nother thing that I won't get into. So, anyways, TikTok, guys, I understand. You know, you were a startup. You were just trying to get people to watch your videos. But like, if you're gonna last, you know, something must be done. Think of the children.
Remember what TikTok
Think of
used
the
to be?
TikTok children.
Think of the
Didn't TikTok
children.
used to be Musical.ly?
All the memes.
Yes.
Remember that? Music.ly, Musical.ly?
Yeah, and then they were bought, and yeah, they went through the whole rebrand and stuff. But, man, it's remarkable. So I'll try to take it down again. But the last time I filled out the TikTok copyright report form, there was literally no response. It just like went into the ether. TikTok ate it and turned it into a video game. You know,
Because
if
we've
we're going, Jake, if we're going on TikTok rants, I got another one for you.
Okay.
First of all, I didn't explore TikTok until very recently because I have some ideas of like parodying TikTok and making an account that's completely just to shit on it, basically. But I dove deep into the world of the memes of TikTok, and the big problem with it is there's so little regulation on minors doing things that like they should not be doing on the internet.
Yeah.
Like there's no like there's so little like that's done about that.
Yeah, and not
they
to mention
they post some shit that I've seen. I was watching it like, oh my god, like do they not
The
like have
fundamental-
any sort of age restriction stuff on this? And they don't.
The fundamental
pretty
problem
crazy.
is exactly that. Is that it's not. It's a Chinese-owned company, so they are not participating with the rest of the Western world to be like, okay, like we're going to establish X, Y, and Z protections for people under these ages, and we're going to sign these generic treaties that say, hey, in general, we're all going to agree to this. They're not doing that, and so
I know.
so
it's
it's
crazy.
just like.
It's like a free world over there.
And I don't think that's like obviously, I don't think that's not resonating with the people that are obviously making the most popular videos on the platform. They're like, look, hey, I'm 16. This is the first social media profile I've ever had. It's got 100,000 followers. Don't take a dump on me.
In peace.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Don't take a dump on
It's
me.
like
I'm having
horrible.
having fun with my friends, and just let me be. And I understand that desire, but like, there's also a world out there that has consequences, and if we just go about it like this and we let stuff like this happen, it's
honestly dangerous.
Man. Yeah,
it's
it
super
is.
dangerous.
In the long term, and I'm not just trying to get on a soapbox here. I'm just saying, like, something needs to be done about this. It's very clear.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
We just lost Nico.
I'm
Nico's
still
out.
here.
No, your video's gone.
You're just
Oh,
a little
that's weird.
stick man.
Yeah.
wonder am I-
So, thanks for staying with me through that, guys.
Happy to do it.
I'm
Happy to be
super
here.
excited about Son of a Dungeon. Sam and I have already been bouncing around a ton of ideas, and
Real quick, just to interrupt you, back on the TikTok thing.
uh-oh.
No, I mean I don't care about it anymore. But because we've made videos about people stealing our content Every single time someone sees it, they take a screenshot and they message me. So I get hundreds of messages.
I know.
Like,
And I
hey,
even
I
get
saw
those
your
messages.
video on TikTok. And I'm like, I know. I can't do anything about it. And it's just like an onslaught. So please stop letting me know.
Well, but how else do we find out? Okay, maybe here's what we should do.
Tell
Here's what
the
we should do.
Corridor Twitter account, not me.
Okay, So maybe going forward so that Wren doesn't have a Twitter breakdown because of all this comments and submissions, we come up with an email / like account, and then we tell people like it's like reports at Corridor Digital or something, and we just tell people to use that. You know, some sort of handle or specific email to target people towards, because I do really appreciate it when people let us know about stuff like this.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
because it's the
don't get
only
me
way
wrong.
we
I
find
do
out.
too. It's just that like they think they're doing me such a favor by messaging me and telling me about this that they seem really offended whenever I just kind of like ignore it.
Oh well, you can't expect. I wouldn't expect you
I
to
know.
respond.
Well,
like
I mean-
are you going to go through every single response and like
Just respond to
reply
all of
back?
them right now, like you're doing. That'll work.
This was that response.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
All right, so Wren's cleared the air. And would anyone else like to clear the air about anything in their life at this point? I mean, we've lost Nico. We've lost visual on Nico. I don't know what happened.
And audio now. Oh, no, I
No,
can-
I'm here. I'm
He's
here.
there. He's there.
Yeah. This is probably a good spot to wrap it up because I still have to finish my color grade for Tacticool reloads.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go.
All
Yeah,
right,
I'm just
guys.
happy to be here.
Again.
Matt's just happy to be here. All right, cool. That was fun. Thanks for playing, and look
you above
for
me?
look for
I'm above
Tacticool
you, yeah.
reloads to come
least
out
on my
next
screen.
weekend, and look for the show on corridordigital.com at some point.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Signing off. This is the Banjo Boys and the
That's
Corridor
right.
Cast.
We can't leave until we get that sweet, sweet banjo.
Oh, I gotta go now.
He's out.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.